Can you build a no-code real estate management app on Bubble? We have a number of clients who build real estate related apps, and whether you can build one on Bubble is a question tons of other entrepreneurs have as well. A real estate management app can obviously be very broad with lots of different functionality and use cases, so figuring out whether you can build your own on Bubble can be confusing. That's why in this series, we're not just going to be covering whether you can build a custom real estate management app on Bubble. I'm also going to walk you through the development of core real estate management app features so that you can move forward from this series with a launching pad for your own app. And in this video, which is the first in the series, we're going to break down the core components you'll likely need in your own app, go through different types of niche customizations you might be questioning whether they're possible to build, and also talk about how Bubble handles those types of features. Now make sure you stick around until the end, because next up in the series, we're going to be diving into the development of certain real estate management app features, and I want to make sure you know exactly which ones to look forward to and tune in for. So first, if you're new here, my name is Gabby and I am the co-founder of Coaching No Code Apps, where we help non-technical entrepreneurs build custom apps so they can launch their app-based businesses or grow their existing businesses all without coding. Now, we're going to dive in here, get started, and talk about the two main categories of real estate real estate management apps that we see being built on Bubble. The first category of app is the property listings marketplace. So this is basically your Zillows, your Trulias, Realtor.coms. Anytime you want to search for a property that might be for sale, for auction, or even for rent if you want to lease something, you're going to do a search in some kind of general public database to see all the information about those properties. And so that is one type of application that we're seeing, basically a way to connect people who are interested in properties with the property owners, the real estate agents, the brokerage firms. The other category of real estate management app is one that's a little bit more internal for landlords, property managers to organize and manage all of their property details and tenants to keep it all operational and running for their own businesses. Now, there are some features that we see a lot of overlap between these two, but generally this is what we're seeing when we're talking about building a real estate management app, is a property listings marketplace or a property management type of tool that's a little bit more internal for a business. Okay, and so as we can see here, these logos are just two different examples of platforms that do this sort of thing. Zillow would be for the marketplace, and then Yardi Breeze, I'll move my video over so that you can see that there, is for the property management. Now we're going to go through a few of the top real estate app features that we see come up time and time again. The first is the management of property listings. So being able to collect and display all of the information related to a property. So images, video, top level details about pricing, size of the property, construction of the building, amenities involved, location, of course, of the property. So, you know, when you're looking at a marketplace and you're doing a search, you want to be able to fine tune that search with lots of different filters, a lot of parameters and stuff. And a lot of that information you can only filter on those things if you're collecting that info from the people who own the property or represent the property in some way. So management of these things. The second thing is tenant management. So this is more appropriate for that internal type of application for landlords or property managers to organize information around their tenants. So keeping track of all the documents involved, agreements, contracts being signed, signatures from them, identity documents, keeping track of different statuses. So their application status, if they're a prospective tenant versus an active current tenant with one of their properties, keeping track of their rent payments, maintenance requests, anything that is associated with a tenant as they relate to one of their properties, we want to be able to manage that. And then between both of these types of applications, we often see a lot of custom forms to collect information from different users, about the properties. So we're going to see a couple of examples there. And these are really the top features that we're looking at. Basically, these giant CRMs of applications that are unique to the real estate industry. So I've got a couple of screenshots so we can see how existing services like Zillow and Yardi Breeze are managing these sorts of things to point out and really emphasize that you can get all of this functionality in your Bubble app as well. You can create custom functionality to do this too. So for property listings, the screenshot that we've got here, this is a Zillow screen for setting up a listing that is for rent. So we need to collect a lot of top level information like the rent itself, if there's a security deposit, the size of the property when it's available, things like that. We've got another screenshot here from Yardy Breeze. You can see that this is a bit more of a dashboard type of display, more of a portal for the landlord or the property manager to get access. You can see on the left-hand side there all of those menu items. Get access to everything involving their business. And the particular screen that we're looking at right now is a detail window for a specific property, a selected property. We can see all the information about that, and then any associated tenants or prospects for that property. From here, we would expect the user to be able to edit this information as well. Here are a few other screenshots of displaying that property information in more of a public-facing view. So again, if you're doing a Google search for a property, you can see results coming up from Zillow, from Trulia, or from Realtor.com, all in your Google search results. Or if you do searches directly inside of these different applications, you're going to be taken to some public-facing, SEO-friendly detail page for that property. As we can see, with real estate, we really put a lot of emphasis on the multimedia. Users are drawn to what the property looks like. So we're definitely going to have images, possibly videos, possibly even 3D walkthroughs of the property to really get help the user understand what the property is like. You can see that across different sites that we highlight a lot of the same things. So not just the images, but also, of course, the pricing, the location, the actual address, the size of the property, and then come the secondary details that, the users would be looking for after that: amenities, bigger descriptions, possibly even getting to a contact form to take next steps forward from there. Okay, so these kinds of screens, these profile pages essentially for the properties are absolutely doable within a Bubble application to set up so that they're SEO friendly, they're easy to share, easy to find. Now we'll move into tenant management. So again, this starts to resemble more of a CRM, but it's very unique and specific to tenants within a property management system for a landlord or a property management company. So I've got a screenshot here of a document taking in a signature. That's something that you're going to find and a lot of users will expect when they're trying to manage tenant information. There's a lot of documents usually involved for verifying identity, for just collecting information from them to approve as a part of the application process, or just simply storing and recording agreements between the property and the tenant. And a lot of times there's going to be e-signatures there. Now, Bubble has a lot of really powerful capabilities to integrate with the outside world, including third-party integrations with e-signature systems like DocuSign or DocSpring, where the signatures are actually legally binding. So all of these things you can build into your Bubble app, not just the signatures, but also producing the PDFs, right? The documents that come out of them so that they can be stored or emailed to other parties. Okay, so here's another example of tenant management type of screen. So basically seeing that contact detail window for that tenant, possibly have a photo, actual contact information, email, phone numbers, being able to see their status. So from here, the owner, the landlord, whoever it might be, should be able to edit this information and see any other related information to this tenant. So this all really comes down to, with any data-driven app, the structure of your database. And that is one of the most powerful things about the Bubble platform, is it allows you to custom define your database architecture so that you can collect whatever information you need, relate things to each other however you need in a really unique way and custom way for solving your problems and streamlining your operations. From this window, we can also see a little chat there in the corner, so you can build something like that as well. Whether it's a real-time, one-to-one chat, or maybe it's a more like an in-app inbox system where you can have conversation threads, you can go back, you can upload file attachments, lots of different ways you can do in-app communication as well. So then we'll move on to kind of our next kind of big bucket common feature within real estate management applications, and that's general forms. Rent collection is a part of that too, to kind of emphasize that we can take payments, but that's also going to involve a form system of some kind, answering questions, collecting some information, and then taking some actions from there. Really popular with property management system for forms would be maintenance requests. And of course rent collection. But with maintenance requests, you have statuses, right? These requests need to go to a maintenance team. We need to keep track of when it was submitted, what the status is of the request, what's the urgency of the request. Is this an emergency? Is it a routine maintenance thing that needs to happen? Who is making the request? What property is it for? And basically keep a trail, an audit trail of everything that happens, so that, again, communication is as seamless as possible for everybody involved. Another thing that you can keep in mind here with this sort of thing is that, not everybody needs to be able to do and see the same thing. You can have permissions, you can create rules so that users of different roles can access only certain areas. So maybe the maintenance team can only see the maintenance request section of the application and not have anything to do with tenant applications, for example. That would be more for the landlord. So that's all possible in here as well. Here's another screen that is more focused on the rent collection. So like I said, Bubble can communicate with the outside world. It has very powerful third-party integration capabilities, API connection capabilities, and that of course includes integrating with payment gateways. With our clients, we love to work with Stripe. It's super powerful, very flexible. You can do practically any business model, any payment flow you can think of, including recurring payments, setting up a saved credit card or an ACH, being able, connecting to bank accounts so you can do ACH transfers, things like that. And you can take international payments as well. And the user can update their payment system. They can get invoices from this. Everything that you would expect in a normal, online payment, bill pay type of system, you can really build into the rest of the application as a part of a seamless flow, even if there are third parties supporting some of the functionality. So you can have it as embedded as you want, or even if you wanted to navigate them away from the app to go to that payment gateway separately, that's completely up to you. You can send them a link, email it to them, they can click on it and make their payment that way. So a bunch of ways you can approach that. Now here's a list of other niche features that we typically see coming up with our own clients who are building real estate related apps. So I talked about maintenance requests, reports, accounting and property manager reports. So, for landlords, property managers, these are businesses. And they need to be able to gather really important insights to make decisions on their business. So being able to surface the data, visualize the data, reveal the data in a way that's actually going to be helpful for them, and be able to see trends, be able to gather information about how well their business is doing, how well their properties are doing, if any tenants are falling behind on their rent payments, how are they doing with their maintenance requests, things like that. So these reports can be designed however you need. You can integrate with really cool charting tools to visualize all of the data. You can output very standard and basic tables, export them to an Excel sheet. You can send information to QuickBooks for your accounting, for example. Again, that would be an API integration. So a lot of really powerful stuff you can do now that you have the data and you're collecting it in your app. Again, these are data-driven applications, and because you have complete control over the structure of your data, you can manipulate it in many different ways. Application tracking we talked about, so just being able to keep track of statuses of applications, following up, creating reminders, confirmations, communicating with the applicant, the prospect, involved. Talked about in-app messaging with, an inbox system that you create, or maybe a real-time chat. That type of functionality you can also integrate with third parties as well. Like a customer help, like a ticket desk system. That there are really great services out there that's all they do, and you can integrate them in your Bubble app. Connection to third-party listings databases. So this is something that we've actually seen come up a number of times with our own clients who are building real estate-related apps. Is whenever they're working with listings, they really want to hook into existing databases that are already out there, that already have records of thousands, hundreds of thousands of properties already on file. So rather than duplicating or asking their users to regenerate this information, they can connect to these databases and pull in that data, and or send data out from their Bubble app to the databases to sync in that direction as well. So it all comes down to an API integration, all very doable. Custom map searching. So obviously when you are working with properties, you're talking about physical locations that need to be plotted on a map or found through map searches. So at one point or another, you're going to involve a map. And you can keep this really basic just to show where the property is, or you can get more custom and interactive with it if you want your users to maybe choose a radius that they want to search within compared to some origin location. That's all very doable as well. Image and video slideshows, like I mentioned, you know, the public facing listings pages are going to be highlighting what the property looks like to really attract those prospect tenants or buyers for a property. So being able to display images and video at high quality, even embedding 3D kind of walkthrough files as well, is all very capable. Now, we have encountered applications that are going to keep their multimedia very slim and basic, but we've also encountered applications that are very heavy with the media and need a lot of file storage. Bubble has built-in file storage capabilities. You also have the ability to integrate with external file storage systems if you really need to scale up with lots and lots of files that are going to grow really large in size and need to be a bit more cost effective with that. So SEO friendly listings pages talked about that. So you have control over how you structure the URL so that it's SEO friendly. It's easy to be found when you're doing search engine, when you're doing searches on search engines like Google, Yahoo, Bing, all of that. Make it easy to share. The secure payments talked about, you know, we work with Stripe specifically with our clients, but we've also worked with many of other payment gateways. Dwolla, Paystack, PayPal, of course. There's many of them out there. Really, as long as they offer an API, again, you can connect to it. So you can collect rent payments, you can set up recurring payments or one-time payments. A lot of customization you can do around that. With real estate applications, particularly with property management applications, there's lots of documents that are flying back and forth between the landlords and the tenants. And so we need to be able to create a custom document management system. And all of this is very possible on Bubble. In fact, we've seen entire applications get built solely around managing documents and organizing documents. So uploading files of various types, downloading them, viewing them, securing, you know, the files themselves, putting them behind passwords, being able to collect legally binding signatures. All of this is very doable. And then the last thing I'll touch on is just this concept of being able to create specific portals. A lot of people like to see it as that, or, you know, different views of the same application for different user types. So as a tenant, I should only be able to see my own information and, you know, any communication records that I have with my landlord. Whereas as a landlord, I should be able to see information about all of my tenants and or all of my properties if I have more than one. So we're doing different things within the application. Even though it's the same app, we have different levels of access. And so those are custom rules that you can create around the custom user definitions that you also create. It's all in your hands. I'm going to skip to the next screen here. Okay, so this is why we use Bubble specifically for building real estate apps. First, I've touched on this a few times already. It's the custom database structure capability. So you basically get a blank canvas. You can create whatever kind of architecture you desire. Now, there are certainly strategies around building a database structure that is going to be efficient. It's going to perform well. It's optimized, especially for scale. These are things that we help our clients with as they're building their applications. And this is all to better serve the interactivity of the application, to make things fast so that you have really custom and flexible front-end designs and flexible workflow logic that you can build around the data structure. It's amazing really how much of a ripple effect your database structure can have on how your app works. Second thing is the integration capabilities. So you have really robust and comprehensive integration abilities that you can incorporate with your Bubble app to connect to the outside world. So whether it's embedding, you know, some kind of external functionality like an interactive map or, you know, a 3D walkthrough of a property, or if it's just connecting to external databases, pulling data in, exporting data out to keep things synced, being able to process payments, of course. Lots of different things you can do there. And Bubble has a very big plugin marketplace as well with integrations that have already been created for you. So a lot of it's really just plug and play. But of course, you also have the ability to create your own if it's not found in the marketplace. It's, you know, you have the ability to do that as well. And then the third thing is creating privacy rules around your data. So custom logic around, like I said, who can access what data, who can do certain things in the application. When it comes to real estate, property and tenant data, we're generally going to be working with sensitive personal information. So we want to make sure we can protect that information with rules that are unique to the application. So all of that is absolutely doable. All right, in the next video in the series, we'll take a closer look at developing must-have real estate management app functionality in your Bubble app, plus how to customize things specific to your business or industry. So go ahead and subscribe to our channel, then click the notification bell so you can catch the next video as soon as it's released. We'll see you there.